Hello folks, welcome back to the channel, and I guess today's the day we're finally going to get the TD-V931 across the line. At least that's the plan. That's what I'm hoping. Should have had this done a couple of months ago, but I've been kind of dreading working on this ever since video number 1 because of what it actually needs yet. But at least one of the problems we're going to deal with today, and the main problem we're going to deal with, is of course the really low take-up torque on this thing that brings this whole thing to a stop. You might remember in past JVC related videos that I've mentioned that you have to really have a plan together before you even take off the reel tables on this transport. That's because they use felt slip clutches in there to transmit some of the power back and forth between the two halves of the reel tables. And you really have to know exactly how you're going to service those felt slip clutches before you even try to take these reel tables out, because the caps that hold those things on are only good for 1 or 2 or 3 maybe reinstallations before they fail, and suddenly they don't clip in place anymore. But thankfully the D7 has now told me all I need to know about that. I'm ready. We can do that. The other problem I'm looking to address with this is the tape path alignment. It is very drastically out of alignment right now, and that's because I have it aligned currently to reduce tape curl at the exit tape guide. That was a problem before, but I'm hoping to fix it now. I have to confess something that I'm not sure if I should or not, but there's a very strong temptation for me to return this to the way it was when I got it, which is to bring the tape guide back out, the entry tape guide, and realign the azimuth and just leave the heads alone, but I'm not going to do that. My reasoning is I have to learn this stuff at some point if I'm going to be doing this for other people. This is a fully discrete head setup here. And JVC's made it about as easy as it can possibly be. So I should be able to do this. I have the tools. I have most of the experience now. It's just I haven't had the desire to do it until recently. But listening to the one tape that this thing made on the Technics RSM88, yes, it's time. This has to start making recordings. It is my best tape deck that's currently working. There are only 2 tape decks on the shelf right now that have any kind of a shot at all of being any better than this deck. And those are the Aiwa XK-009 and of course, the Nakamichi ZX9. Those are the only 2 that I think will even come close to this, if not beat it. But we'll see what happens with that. And before we really get into this, I have an announcement to make. I have increased my JVC count in the collection by 1 as of this morning. Probably shouldn't have, but I couldn't help myself. Reason is, this thing was so cotton-pickin' expensive to ship out here from Japan. $160 it cost me the slow way. Don't even ask about the prices the fast way. I decided what I would like to do is I want to take a look at one of their number 2 decks to see if I could possibly find a way to get you guys something that's a little bit cheaper than this and yet maybe almost the same quality. So there are 2 models that are usually in debate as to whether or not they're JVC's number 2 deck. One is the TD-V931, which is another Japanese-only domestic unit. And by the way, that'll cost you exactly as much to ship as this one does, because it's got the same construction. Heck, it's practically the same deck, except belt drive. But the other model that's commonly mentioned is the TD-V1010, which is known in Japan as the TD-V721. And I have bought one of those. I now own a TD-V721 that looks like it just left the factory floor, by the way. So I can't wait to see that. And it'll be nice to get that one too, because it's using the same heads as this one. If I need to find a head donor, I'll have one. But very likely the TD-V931 is probably going to perform so well that I will not want to use it for parts, so we'll find out when it gets here. I'm going to get it here as cheap as I possibly can, so it should end up being cheaper than the Akai GX93 from last week. First thing I'm going to do on this big beast, I think, is I'm going to wait a couple days for the transport service it needs, because I'm not fully awake today, and I want all my perspicacity intact for dealing with this thing, because the alignment procedures involved with this look like I'm going to have this transport in and out of the deck 2 or 3 times in order to complete it, because the beauty plate that you have to remove in most decks to use the alignment gauge, that's part of the entire deck assembly here, or part of the whole loading assembly. So there is no easy adjustments on this. You have to have the transport completely torn out of this thing and then separated from the carrier in order to do any alignments, like you have to do with the alignment gauge, and like we have to do with this particular machine, because we're going to have to be in there adjusting head tilt and head height, and on both heads. That's why this is going to have to be in and out like 2 or 3 times, because the recording head has to be aligned to the playback head, and only the playback head is going to be easy on this. So yes, today is just going to be capacitors. I'll get the lid off the beast. To show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to test these big boys back here, but they probably do not need replacement. I'm just going to check them and see how good they are. These light green Tosin capacitors, they're all going. Every single one of them on this board, and possibly every single one of them on this board, because this is also power supply over here. I cannot do anything about the Nippon Chemicon parts here, because they're all 50 volt, but the Tosins I can get rid of easily enough. So we'll see how I feel about doing this board after I test some of these, but I'm really desperate to get Panasonic FR in these locations here, because these are all related to the transport. So yes, I suppose I'd best get going on this, and I'll report back when I've got capacitor stuff done. Okay, so as you can see, the recapping is done. I measured all the Tosins, none of them were bad. And I also took out this capacitor back here and measured it, and this is better than spec. This is this measured in at 7,000 microfarads, so these 2 caps are going to be good. But I should mention I discovered quite a few cold solder joints under this board, so based on that, I decided to take this one out and have a close look at it to see if there were any bad solder joints under there, but didn't find any. And I've also left the capacitors in here, the Tosin ones, because just none of the ones over here were bad. You might be wondering what to do about this down here. This is just a connector. It just pops right up and off. It's just basically a simple connector that joins this board to the other motherboard down there, so nothing too concerning with that. So we'll fire it up now and see if any magic smoke comes out. I see no problems. The display is up. Well, both of them. But we might as well move on to a basic check of the current functionality of the unit. Essentially, what we need to do now is evaluate the current operating situation, if you like, and see if we can figure out exactly what's going on with this before I get in there. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run the path checker tape, and what we're going to look for is to see whether or not the tape moves as it goes over the pinch rollers. This will tell me whether or not this thing needs new pinch rollers. So I will wind into it just a bit. There's a damaged section here somewhere. Okay, and we'll go for play and we'll look for tape movement over the pinch rollers. And it's already wanting to stop take-up drive. So we'll try that again. I'm kind of watching this through the phone because it's a little easier to see that way, but let me get my flashlight if I can find it. It's gone missing again, as it always does. Okay, let's check the take-up side pinch roller. That's the one I'm most concerned with here. Now, it really wants to not start the take-up, does it? Come on, drive the take-up, please. Well, I'm going to have to review this footage and make the determination myself as to whether or not I'm going to keep these pinch rollers. I do have new ones, but yeah, the take-up drive is completely gone on this unit now and must be dealt with. And so it shall be dealt with, but we're not going to be able to do this long, but I'm going to throw my torque test tape in there. And I want to see what the back tension brake is looking like these days. It read high the last time I was in here, but or in here testing it, but I want to see. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's as far as I'm willing to risk it. And I could see that the back tension torque was off the scale on my torque test tape, so it's probably going to be okay. The back tension brake on this transport is done by taking a little piece of rubber and shoving it up against the bottom section of the reel table, and then there's a felt slip clutch between there and the top of the reel table, which the tape pulls on, and that's how this thing does back tension. So basically, there's really nothing more to do in there. If the back tension brake, which is the felt slip clutch, were defective, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the results we had in there. So this tells me I can leave the supply side thingamadoodle alone, and all I need to do is service this side. But I'm going to take both of them off, and we're going to lubricate both shafts. So that's how that's going to work. But yes, I can't wait to get this thing going. It is by far my best cassette deck that's currently working. You might be asking yourself how I feel about this compared to the TD-V931, which is a previous JVC flagship, and all I have to say to that is they're not even playing in the same ballpark. The 99's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not in the top 5, and this is at the top of the top 5. So that tells you all you need to know about that. I would say the TD-V931 and V900X and CT970, all of them are roughly so close to each other I can't really pick a favorite between them. So number 6 would be the DR-M3 from Denon, which is just ever so slightly a notch above the rest of the auto calibrators. And then the top 5 is the top 5. What can I say? Okay, so I wanted to do one more little test before I actually pulled the transport out of this thing. I put the damaged original YouTube test tape in there, and I went for playback, and I found that you can just get down there, or just look down there, to see the idler drive in through here where these micro switches are, or these switches are. And I found that it's not the idler causing the problem. It is the felt slip clutch entirely causing the problem. The reel stalls out, but the idler is still running. So that is exactly the problem. So we've got a new felt slip clutch that we have to replace in there. Or an old slip clutch we have to replace in there with a new one. Never mind. I told you guys I was tired. Oh, and one more thing before I go off camera again. These are all disintegrating, these felt pads here, so I don't know. I can probably pull that one out now. This deck isn't going to be shipped anywhere again, so I'll just leave them out. There's another one back here. And I should mention that it's fairly easy to tell which is which of these two boards here. This is the playback amplifier, and this is the record amplifier. Reason I know that is the playback amplifier is directly above the line-out jacks. So that's how I can tell that. And also all the things coming out of the jack panels on over here for the recording just go to this board. So that is that. So these two trim pots up here are probably for Dolby level or playback level, and these two would be for recording level. And then there's a couple more down here. One of these is going to be bias, I'm sure, and then the other one is probably, well, I don't know, it's left and right. Something to do with recording anyway, because that is where the erase head goes, I think. Anyhow, see you in a couple days. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of an interlude here because a Mauser order just showed up, and I thought maybe we should unbox this one on camera because, well, United Package Smashers seems to have done their usual United Package smashing. Although it only looks like the front of this is really not very good, so we'll see if we can take a look at this and see if it's in good shape and show you what's inside. Okay, so they did their usual thing. Packaged everything in a plastic bag here. And I'm actually not going to do any anything with the TD-V931 today either, because I got even less sleep last night than the night before, so can't think straight, so I'm not even going to try to work on my second most expensive tape deck today. But we'll show you what's in this bag. Okay, first we've got a Fragile Handle with Care. What is this? Well, we've got some lamps in here. 12 volts, 0.06 amps. I believe these are for TAC cassette decks, and their lamps. Because there was actually a comment on a video of mine about the let me sit down here, about the TAC V900X that he replaced the lamp on it with a LED and found that it didn't work. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I should grab some lamps for those decks just in case I need some, because they're not the easiest things to find. So I've got some here, I think. But there's only one lamp in here. Why is there only one lamp in here? Did I only order one? What the heck? What did I order this thing for? Let me check the manifest real quick. I ordered 10 of them. Where's the other 9? Has to be in here somewhere. Oh yeah, here they are. I did order more than that. Okay. Just wanted to be sure Mauser wasn't shorting me on lamps or something here. They always package things weird, I find. A little bit weirder than DigiKey, but sometimes just as weird. Anyhow, they really went overboard on the bubble wrap. But let me just see if I've got all 9 of them, or all 10 of them here that I ordered. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 in here. There's 1 in here. Now we just need to track down 5 more of these things. And we'll put them all into one container so I can keep track of them. I told you Mauser was weird. Okay, these are resistors, crystals. We'll talk about those in a second. Cablamitators. Cablamitators. More crystals. Okay, we'll just have to go through this one by one here and figure out what's going on with these lamps. Okay, I'll throw this one out because it's got a big hole in it now. I'll just put the lamps in that one bag and we'll hopefully find the rest of them as time goes by here. Okay, so these are Camet 100 volt 0.01 microfarad capacitors. These are more than likely for quartz locking the RSM75 because that's what most of this order is. Metal film resistors, same thing. 3.93 megahertz crystals. This is definitely for quartz locking the RSM75. I've got the controller chips as well. Those were 20 bucks each. I bought 2 of them. And I got those from China off AliExpress because it was the, well, the cheaper option. Okay, we've got multi-layer ceramic capacitors, 22 picofarads. That's also for the quartz lock project. Crystals, 4 megahertz. There should be 10 of them in here. Or I think there should be 10. It doesn't look like there are 10 in there. There's 2 of them. Did I order 10 of these or did I order 10 of the others? It's hard to say. I know I ordered 2 of some and 10 of others, but let me check the manifest again. They're here somewheres. Okay, yes, I only ordered 2 of the 4 megahertz crystals and 10 of the 3.93s, so did I already get those out? Yes, I did. Let's check and see if the all 10 of them are here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they're all there. So we've got all 10 of the 3.93s. Capacitors here, 4700 at 35 volts to use to replenish what I used up in the Akai deck. These are ELX parts. They're a new product. I couldn't find the KY series I was using for this value. So I got these to replace them with. They were out of stock on the KY series, so those should work out well enough. I'll leave those out because I'll put them in my little capacitor organizer. Okay, here's some more lamps. Good. They sure do love their bubble wrap, I'll tell you what. Okay, do we have 5 lamps in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, we do. Good. All of the lamps are here. So I can put the lamps away and not worry about them. But they're the most expensive part of this order is not accounted for yet. So let's account for those next, because that's kind of a big deal. Okay, that must be these things here. Yes. We have Maxim Max 4066A CPD Plus. These are replacements for the 4066 switches that are in the TIAC 999 auto reverse deck. That deck happens to use 7 of those bloody things. And they're known to be noisy, so I got 10 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, they're all here. Good. So that's what these are for. These are for quieting down the 4066 switches in the TIAC. And I've already determined that the TIAC runs voltages low enough to use these. I believe it's plus or minus 7.3 volts. So that should work. Just before we get started with the transport-related stuff we have to do on this deck, I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements. First, the TD-V931 is now leaving Japan. I got it all packed for shipment and paid for already. This one's going to cost me $120 to ship here after a 10% discount, but it's worth mentioning that it's a little more expensive than it otherwise would be because I'm having 16 cassettes shipped with it. I woke up the other day and decided I wanted more of these things, which are capsule UD2 tapes. I used these a lot in the late 80s and early 90s because they were a little cheaper than XL2s were, and yet still really good quality, and I just decided I wanted more of them. So the ones I'm getting are used because you can't find these unopened anymore for some reason in large quantities, but whatever. Hopefully some of those will get here with their J cards intact, because on those tapes you can't invert the J cards as easily. Let me show you what I mean here. I'll take this one out. You see this little curve here? If you invert the J card, you come up with this, and it just doesn't look right. So I'm hoping the ones I got have intact J cards and without too much writing on them, so I can play with them. And let's see, I had another announcement. What was it? Well, might as well do this announcement first then. I was taking a look through the Audio Life blog in Japan, where they've serviced a lot of these TD-V931s and TD-V731s, and it looks like what they've been doing is they've been adding a ground strap between the capstan motor and the chassis, because apparently this introduces a lot of noise into the audio outputs. So I thought that was a good idea, so I'm going to be doing that mod on this deck as well. This is the cable I made up for it. I had trouble finding ring terminals and spade clips for this, but I did manage to find a couple, so I've got a bunch more on order from AliExpress right now, so I don't run out of those again. So that is that. Let's see, I think that's all I needed to talk about from there. If I think of anything else, I'll tell you. But before we get into the transport side of this, I should state, since I haven't done this in quite a while, that all these decks here are for me to learn on. Basically, when I was studying electronics repair, I had to learn electronic musical instrument repair because my parents wouldn't pay for the course I wanted to take, which was consumer electronics. So I didn't learn the type of repairs that I wanted to do. So when I decided to start doing this stuff, I was faced with a decision. What would it cost for For a person to go out and get the type of extra electronics training I would need to do this kind of work, do I A, go back to school again in like Calgary or Saskatoon and spend 7 or 8 grand to learn basically a lot of stuff I already knew, or do I just take the same 7 or 8 grand, buy a bunch of tape decks that I've always wanted, and then learn from them myself? So that's exactly what I've been doing these last couple of years, is just buying whatever I wanted to learn on. And that's really what this is. It might be my second most expensive tape deck, but it is here for me to learn on. So I can't be afraid to do anything on this. Off camera, I've done a few things on this morning. Basically, I wanted to make sure this thing was really out of alignment. So I took the gauge here, I took my bench power supply, I checked it, and yes, the playback head is out of alignment. Not by much. The tape curl was around this guide right here. I should zoom you in. The tape curl is on the front of the guide right here, and it's out by maybe a fraction of a millimeter. So hopefully this won't be too hard for me to knock back into alignment, but we have discrete heads here, so I've been nervous about this the last couple of years, but honestly, I think I'm ready for this. This is not anywhere near as intimidating as it was the first time I got into it, so I think I'm going to get this working today, but yes. And the other thing I should mention is I have to eat my words on what the cause of the real stall out is. It is actually the idler. The reason it's the idler is because I can see oil on the idler, so I think the capstan bearing's been slinging a little bit more oil out, so hopefully that's dealt with. I'll clean everything once this goes back in. The felt slip clutch on the take-up reel isn't gone, but it's not as good as I would like it to be, so we're replacing it anyway. Makes sense to me as preventative maintenance. I will not replace the one over here for back tension. It's fine. There is very little friction there, so I think I'm just going to leave that alone. We'll lubricate the reel tables and make it all nice and happy. But I should mention also, I think I have the wrong idlers for this. I think these are going to be too big, so I hope I've got one that will work. So, what shall we do first? Well, let's start with the reel tables, shall we? We'll start with the take-up side, because that's the side that needs the most help. See if I can pop this cap off. And I'll mention once again that these little caps are only good for maybe 1 or 2 insertions before they expire and you have to replace them. At the factory, JVC would have required you to fully replace these reel tables anytime there was a problem with one of them, but that is not an option in 2025 anymore. So let me clean up this cap a little bit. There's always a little bit of plastic that comes out of these things, or debris or some such, and I want to get rid of those so I can re-clip it back on. And there was also this little washer underneath there as well, so you have to keep track of that. So this reel table should just come off, and it does. We've got a little felt washer here. That's going to be in there to control the oil, to keep the oil from getting everywhere, that they use to lubricate this. And let's see, I need my isopropyl alcohol to clean off the shaft. We'll do that now, because we're going in with new grease, not oil. This really did not need to be done on this particular deck, but have to get into it anyway to deal with the slip clutch, so whatever. And you'll have noticed I'm using a nice orange cloth here, and this is to protect the this vacuum fluorescent display here, because I just didn't want to worry about that all day. So, got the reel table out, and now we're ready to deal with the slip clutch, I hope, and I think. Try to do this as gently as possible. These are all friction fit together, I do believe, just like the double D99 and DD7. Okay, I got her. I don't know what exactly is coming apart on this, but something is coming apart on this. Okay, so there's the cap section. I'll try to put these parts in order as to which way they go back on. Little spring, big spring, and that. And we should be able to just, yeah, here's the felt slip clutch. I will clean up the inside of the reel table. And I will just have a look at this. It looks like it's fairly well in place, or glued fairly well in place. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. The problem with these DJI smartphone gimbals is that you can't see the screen from where, or I can't see the screen from where it currently is located. So should probably do some more cleanup over on this side as well. And I'm going to just check here and see if there's any cracking in this hexagonal portion of this, and there does not appear to be. So that's in good shape. Now we got to find us a new felt slip clutch from this here kit. So what are we dealing with? .2 or 19.1 external, so 19 maybe. 2.6 millimeter wall thickness, I think. And the inside is 13.6. So it's not going to be using the same rings that we used in the DD7. It looks like my 1.4 by 13 by 19 millimeter ones are the right call for this deck. So I'll get one of those out and we'll confirm. Okay, let's see here. Ah, yes, that does look like it's the exact right fitment there. So hopefully we don't result in too high of tape torque now, because there is a little bit more wall thickness here than the old one had. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any others that'll work any better than what I've got. I do have these 1 by 12 by 18 millimeter ones. Those might work too, but these look like they're the closest match as to what's in here. So let's just peel this old one off. And we will clean that up real good. We need the new felt to stick properly. This is basically all I did with the double D7 when I did this job, is I just cleaned this off and stuck the new one on. It's peel and stick, no problems. So if I can get this to peel, I should then be able to get it to stick. And there we go. Press down nice and firmly so the adhesive on the back sticks to it, and we have a new felt slip clutch in this deck for take-up. So all I got to do now is put the reel table back together, grease up yonder shaft, and reinstall. I didn't even realize this. You can just turn this maybe 1/8 of a turn, and then it just comes right off. I just kind of unclipped it is what I did. Oh well. Live and learn. That's what I'm here to do, is to learn. And let's see, this would go on next, followed by this. Snap her back down like that. Spring. And then the keeper, like so. We have us a completely rebuilt take-up reel table for the TD-V931. And I will get my moly coat and I will grease the shaft. And this should be the end of the problems for this deck, even though I already said the problem was actually the idler, not this. It's a little too much grease, but whatever. I can scrape some of it off like I just did, and I will throw the old felt washer away because we don't need that anymore. And yes, now we can reinstall this and it should be happily ever after. Washer goes on, cap goes on. That's one side done. Now I got to do this other side. Same thing, same deal, same procedure, except we will not be taking this one apart because there's nothing wrong with it. I don't even think I'll clean the inside of the of these things. I should have done that really if I was going to do that already on this side, but we're just adding lube. We're not really cleaning out any disgusting old crappy lube because the lube was already decent on this deck, which is one of the reasons why I didn't get into the rotary encoder for the mode switch, which is buried way back in there, and to get to it requires full disassembly of this whole thing. You'd have to take the capstan motor off, 2 screws here, 2 screws up here, plus remove both pinch rollers, and then you'd have to, well, it's really involved. I did it once before on the TDX501, and I'm not really inclined to do it today because this deck is working fine otherwise, so why mess with it if it's not broken? That's what I'm saying there. Oh, actually there is a little bit of a curl of plastic on this reel table that came off, which is no longer there. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Reel tables have been done. Now let's do the idler. Because when it comes time to do the alignments, there's probably not a lot that's going to be on camera because it's going to be very long and tedious and probably take a couple hours, if not 3 or 4 hours. I don't know if I've got time to do it all today. Anyhow, idler is next. Just got to remove the split washer, put it somewhere where I can find it again easily. Not on the orange cloth because apparently I can't find it that way. I'll put it down on the alignment gauge. I can see it over there. Okay, now idler comes off. I will go ahead and remeasure this for yours and my benefit. Old idler is 21.9, so call it 22 by 1.8 millimeters height. 2 millimeter would work. And what's the internal diameter? Let's take it off and find out, because this will be getting replaced today. One way or t'other. Okay, internally it's maybe 17. I don't know for sure. Let's double check on the idler itself. No, 16. 16 by roughly 22 by 2. So yes, the one I bought is probably going to be too thick or too big, but we'll just get it on there and see. Yeah, this one's too big. It's bulging out from the side here, so I'm going to have to go find something else. And I will find something else, because I know I've got one that'll probably work. This just means I have to reorder a bunch of idlers for JVC decks is all. The boombox in the other room is going to need 2 of those things, and the TD-V931 is going to need 1 of those things. So let me go see what I can find. Okay, so I got a couple of idlers here. 14 by 20 by 2 and 14 by 19 by 2. And I bought these for the DRF3. So whichever one of these I use, I'm going to have to reorder for that deck as well. So I think the 20 millimeter one is going to be the one that works for this. So let's try it. It will be stretched out, but that's unavoidable at this point. Try the 20 first, and if it doesn't work, we'll try the 19. Okay, what's the external diameter of this? Well, first off, let me make sure it's fully seated. It did go on just fine. 22.6. So it's off by maybe 0.5 millimeter. It's probably going to work, so I'm going to just go ahead and use it, I think. If it doesn't work, I've got the other one. So I've got to order 5 more idlers of this size. That's what I need to order. But if this doesn't work, we'll find out soon enough while we're testing this afterwards. Okay, now I need some sandpaper. 3000 grit. I'm just going to go ahead and scuff the surface of the idler to prep it for installation. And that should do the trick. I'll do 1 pass with isopropyl alcohol as well. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, I have to clean the outer hub of the take-up reel table because it had oil on it. Okay, that should take care of all our issues there. But before I install this new idler, what I want to do is I want to clean the drive collar on the capstan, just to make sure there's no oil on that again either, because that was the big problem when I originally serviced this. And thankfully I don't think there's any cracks in that collar, because if that was cracked, we'd be in a nightmare right now. Yeah, it's not cracked, it's fine. But yeah, this deck is a cautionary tale on why you shouldn't use too much oil to service capstan bearings, because that was a problem before. And I thought I fixed it, but apparently I had not fixed it. So, idler goes back on. Not paying as much attention to my shot as I should be today, I don't think, but whatever. So yes, that idler should be happy. The old one isn't that far gone yet. The rubber renew treatment is still working on it, but it's time to replace that. And I realized I forgot to clean the inside of the groove out. Great. I just love when I have to do things over again. I'm just not exactly in the right frame of mind to be working on this today, I don't think, but I think the alignment part of this is actually going to be a lot easier than I think it will be, because it's already very close to being in alignment. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if I got the playback head into alignment and the record head lined up just perfectly. But I am committed to going the distance on this deck because of how much money it cost me, so go the distance I will. And that was probably still off camera. Oh well. Now we can put that back on. And I'm not worried at all about any other lubrication issues on this. Now, where did that washer go? Stuck to the drive collar somehow. And it tried to escape again. But there is no escape. We have fully reinstalled it. Okay, so now the only thing left to do is the alignment. And as mentioned, I did check this earlier today, so I know it's out of alignment. So we'll drop the gauge on, we'll carefully set this up here, and we'll use the bench power supply to run this up into the play position. And I had some trouble with this earlier because I had it set to 5 volts, and apparently that is not enough to do the job. So I'm going to go up to 6 volts on my power supply here. I'll take my terminals here and I will touch it to the back of the motor to get it to raise itself into play. Wrong way. That's eject. And there we go. It's in play mode. Well, close enough to it. It's not quite fully loaded, but it's enough to do the alignment, I think. Now, this is going to be tricky because I can't show you very well. Unfortunately, that's the way it has to be. Take my glasses off so I can see a little better what to do here. I will set this up like so. Zoom in as far as possible. Okay, I got the right nut driver on here for the entry guide adjustment. We can do that right now. I will set this back to where I had it originally. Right now it's set to eliminate tape curl, so that's out of alignment. Okay, that has been aligned. So time for paint lock. I will get my green stuff for this. And that should be good. Now, the real tough part is to align the playback head. The way JVC wants you to do this, at least according to the instructions from the TD-V1050, which is the same head arrangement and probably the same heads, you align height first, come back here to tilt, check the alignment again, then height, and then tilt as a final adjustment. But my logic is telling me that if I do this one a quarter of a turn, this one should only need a quarter of a turn. But that's only presuming that the tilt is correct as it is. Which I don't know if it is. Actually, it is correct. So that's fine. Okay, so we got to get the checker bar to go through the middle of the guide here, and of course it is not in alignment. So, do I have the right? Yes, I do. I've already gone ahead and released the paint lock on these, or dissolved the paint lock on these ahead of time. Basically what I did was I injected some acetone into here using a syringe, and then I used my these little guys to pull it out of there. So hopefully this is not going to be a problem now. So height first. My checker bar doesn't fit exactly in through the guide. It must be just a little bit too narrow of a gap for it. Let me use the camera to check on this, because it's hard for me to see with my eyes. What do you think? Is that in alignment? It looks like it is, but I am not sure. So I'm going to take my time and just be very careful about this. And I'm not keeping track of how many turns I'm making to this either, because I'm trying to do this the right way, not the, I guess it's probably right way, because like I said, I have to learn this stuff sometime. Okay, I am satisfied with that. I will recheck tilt, which is probably off now. And let me see, I need a piece of paper. I'm going to do the paper light diffusion trick. Which is not really telling me anything right now. Okay, there we go. Now I can see. I saw it clear as day a second ago. Why can't I see it now? Okay, I think it's going to be a little easier from this angle than the other way I was trying to do it. Oh yes. No, actually I did have to loosen it, I guess. I think I've actually got it now. Maybe. Oh yes, I've got it. I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. So, now I gotta check the guides again and then the tilt again. And of course, further adjustment is required. Let me do this off camera, and then I will report back later. Okay, folks, I think I've got the playback head as far in alignment as I can possibly get it, so I'm going to take the risk and go ahead and paint lock it now by way of nail polish. And hopefully I don't have to mess with this ever again. Azimuth I will leave alone because that needs to be adjusted yet by the use of signals from the deck, which requires everything to go back in, of course, and that's the same deal with the recording head. That has to be adjusted through signals as well, which is going to be the fun part, because I was not able to dissolve the paint lock on those screws. I don't know what JVC is using. It's some kind of black stuff, and acetone wouldn't touch it. So we're probably going to have to crack those screws loose from here with one of my more magnetized screwdrivers like this one. And then that way I'll be able to make the adjustments using the vessel demagnetized screwdrivers. And I'll just go ahead and demagnetize this before I put it back in the deck. About all I can think to do there. So hopefully I don't need to make any other adjustments to the playback head. JVC wants you to make sure that the playback head is above the record head, and it is on this deck, so I'm not going to worry about that part of it. So yes, all we need to do is tilt this back up and unload the mechanism so I can get my alignment gauge back. See if I can do it right now. That seems to be unloaded enough. So we'll set her down like so. And let's see, what do I want to do here? Part of me doesn't want to do this. Part of me wants to see if it's actually in alignment now, the record head, without cracking these screws loose, because it takes forever to get back to these screws again to paint lock them again. So, but yes, we're doing a full discrete head alignment here, so I'm just going to go ahead and crack them loose, I think. And they are loose. So it shouldn't be much adjustment from here to get the record head into alignment, but then I have to get it all the way back apart again so I can paint lock everything. It's just fun. And by fun, I mean tedious. So I guess I will put my alignment gauge away now. Shouldn't have to touch the playback alignment after this. Well, the height and tilt alignment, that is. Azimuth, of course, has to be done. And yes, I will put this back in and we'll pick back up with the electrical part of this. Okay, folks, the deck is back together, and I apologize for doing this off camera, but I have checked for tape curl, and that problem is now fixed. So this deck is one step closer to being in full perfect alignment, but we have to align the azimuth of the playback head next. And oh, before I do that, it occurs to me, well, what's going to be the easiest way for me to show you this from here? This way, maybe, I don't know. I'll just do it this way. If I can, if this stupid gimbal will cooperate again, which it almost never does. I need to replace this stupid thing. Anyhow, you see where the azimuth adjustment is for playback? This one right here? Well, the hole directly above it is for head height for the record head. And then there's a hole directly below that nut for record head tilt height. And then the azimuth adjustment for the record head is underneath this nut right here. So basically they've got the record and play head adjustments mirror imaged from each other. That's why it's so easy to adjust a JVC transport, or this JVC transport. So we'll put the thinger in. Actually, I should check take up and back tension before we even do this. So let's do that. I will say that the take-up drive is working again. That's what I will say. But I don't know how well it's working. So let's find out, shall we? It's kind of hard to see on this deck, but possible. Oh yeah. 55-60 grams per centimeter take-up torque. This deck is in working order now, finally. Okay, now it's time to do the azimuth. like I said before. I'll rewind it just a little bit here, because getting to the azimuth adjustment screw, it takes some doing on this transport. You gotta shove your screwdriver in through here. That's the only way to do it. But can be done. So let's do this. We're getting there now. That's a little bit more useful, isn't it? Okay, that should be it right there. So playback azimuth is dialed in. Now we got to do the head tilt, the head height, and the record azimuth. So I'm going to need a blank tape for this. I'm going to go ahead and use this one because it's pretty well new. Side A. Rewind all the way. And I'll take my non-magnetized vessel screwdriver here for adjusting this. This is going to be the tricky part because it's really hard to get at some of these adjustments. But hopefully we can do this. And we adjust the azimuth through the thing, you know, the thing. Tape monitor, that's what I'm thinking of. That ought to be good enough. I'll get my instructions over here. Playback's done, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, they want to do the tape. They want you to do the tape travel check after playback azimuth adjustment, but I've literally already done that. Azimuth doesn't affect the tape path enough to really cause any tape curl to show up now. So this is how you do the record head adjustments. You do record and playback 10 kilohertz, adjust screw E to maximum output position with no phase difference. That's the azimuth. And I already showed you which one that is. The E screw is the one underneath the, or the one in between the playback height and tilt adjustments. That's where that one is. And then you do the same thing with screw F, which is the height adjustment. That's the upper screw on the left side of the head. And then you got to use the gauge requiring you to get back into the deck to adjust tilt of the record head. But it occurs to me that I might be able to adjust that with just the frequency tones, or the frequency generator. So we'll see how this goes. I have the input selected as I have the, I can't talk again. I have the signal generator on the direct input of this thing because it bypasses the balance control. I had to really shove the balance way over that way in order to get this to record properly that other vaporwave tape. So, what are the conditions for adjustment here? I should check that. Doesn't really say anything about levels or anything, so let's see. Source. We will go over to the signal generator. We need 10 kilohertz. And we'll run it. And there's a very definite level imbalance in the display, so that means we do have some adjusting to do. So back to this. Oh, wait a minute. It's on source. Why are the levels so different on source? They shouldn't be. Okay, the switch is dirty. That's the problem. So I can't use this unless I can clean that switch. And that switch is way the hell back in the deck. Oh, wait, there we go. It's working well enough. Okay, now it's on normal tape. We have that correct. I'll grab my little screwy driver and we'll go into record. And we are on tape, and this is the azimuth as it is now. So let's adjust on that. If I can get to the control, I got to it before. I can't even see down in there. It's still moving the transport in pause. Why is it doing that? That shouldn't be happening. Why would that be happening? Makes no sense. Well, that might be a separate issue I will have to diagnose another time, because I really just want to get this into alignment today. I don't use pause that often, and these decks I have for recording only just don't play back very often, so but that is weird though. No, that is not working. I bet you it's the rotary encoder. The thing I said I wasn't going to get in there and clean, because it takes so much to get to it. Okay, let's finish this. Now, if I can get my screwdriver into the adjustment, which is very difficult, but you can't see nothing. Okay, I got the driver on the screw, I think. That better be the right screw. Literally done this before. Why is it so hard today? Okay, I got it. Now we adjust the height and tilt. I can see they're both off. Okay, that was height. And tilt. Has to be done with the deck apart again. And then wash, rinse, repeat, because you have to double check the tilt again afterwards. So let me get this thing taken back apart again, and we will check the head tilt on the record head and paint lock the playback azimuth screw. Okay, so we are all done. I have paint locked the playback azimuth, and I've also paint locked the record height, which is through this hole here. I noticed that when I looked at the directions again, that JVC has you only doing the record height once and then going back in and only checking the azimuth again. So record height and tilt ought to be fine now. Tilt was way out, of course it was, but I got her dialed in. It actually was a lot easier on the record head than the playback head because of where it is in the deck, but that's fine. I got it dialed in. I haven't paint locked that adjustment yet because it's kind of hard to get to, but I just thought I'd go on camera and give you an update. So it's easier for me to show you which holes do what from this angle. So this is the record azimuth, record height, record tilt. And then the ones with the pink on them, that's the playback head. So play azimuth, play height, play tilt. that's how that works. So let me finish getting this back together, and I got a JVC TD-V931 aligned today. Fantastic. Okay, so everything's back together, and I have done the final azimuth adjustment, and I've also adjusted the recording levels because that had to be done. So I'll show you how it's working now. You'll see tape and source are about the same level now. And this is the azimuth coming directly off the tape. I don't know what that's about. I hope it's not introducing a bunch of weird noise into the recording. I'll find that out the hard way later, I guess, but it should be pulling the slack out, and it doesn't seem to be. I should show you where the recording level adjustments are. There are these two controls down here. This and this. These up here, I don't know what they do, but they don't really affect the levels that much, so I hope I didn't knock those out of adjustment now, but I returned them to the way they were, so it should be all right now. Anyhow, this deck is now working as well as I can get it to work, so further stuff would have to be done, I guess. Like the pause is obviously not working. That's the rotary encoder. I will take this as my lesson today that I need to make sure I clean the rotary encoder of all these JVC decks. Okay, folks, there might actually be a part 3 on this deck after all. I think the mode switch might actually be worse than I possibly think it is. Remember when it was dropping out like that during azimuth alignment? Well, it started doing that while I was doing a test recording on this Sony Metal SR. And it either chewed up this tape or this tape was already damaged. See if I can find a damaged part of it for you here. I'm doing this one-handed. Anyway, there's a section of this tape that's very badly damaged, and I don't know if this deck did that or not, because it's kind of the same symptom I had while doing the azimuth alignment. So, I don't know. What I do know is I recorded 2 songs on this tape with this deck, and no problems. So, I just don't know. I'll just have to keep an eye on it and see. And the azimuth, or not the azimuth, the mode switch is the only possible explanation for that behavior. Okay, folks, real quick, here's what you have to do to get to the pots and switches back in here to clean them. At least this is what I did. First, every screw on the back panel has to come out. Then every screw up top here has to come out, including this one. Then you remove 2 screws down in there. Then you remove 3 screws. Those big ones down there. There's one there, and then there's one over here. And then the back panel can be pulled off that way, and then you can work these controls out. And to do that, you have to pop these switch rods off. There is enough room to do this while the deck is in this state, by the way. And then you can just sort of work the pots out of the extension rods here, and everything's good to go there. Now I want to mention the issue on this deck might not be the mode switch. It might be bad solder joints up here, because I'm seeing a couple of them. So I'm going to reflow those and hope that does the trick, but more than likely this deck will have to be stripped way down to the point I can get at the mode switch to actually clean it. So we'll see what happens. Okay, folks, so I just did some testing, and it wasn't the bad solder joints up here causing the pause issue. I got smart, and I decided to look back down through there with the flashlight while the deck was running, and it appears that the idler tire, the new one, is too big. It does move over that way the way it's supposed to, but it can't disengage playback, or it can't disengage the playback idler, because it's still big enough to touch. So, I'm going to have to go in with a slightly smaller idler. The other one I had would have been just perfect. Okay, so the mode switch has been cleaned. I got to it through here. Not the best way to do it, because I just basically had to spray contact cleaner down in under there, but it's either that or take the whole dang thing back apart. So I hope I got it, and I hope it's working. And for the idler, I'm going in with the next size down that I had. That would be this one. So we'll see if we get pause back. Okay, folks. I think I finally got this thing fixed. The pause issue has been dealt with, and I'm still not sure whether or not it was the idler or if it was the mode switch, but it's working now. At least it appears to be. See, pause is going right into pause. So yeah, just go a little bit smaller on that idler and you'll be good to go. So it's the this one you got to use for this deck. 14 by 19 by 2. Now I hope I can render this into some sort of a logical video. I keep finding things to deal with and dealing with them and then signing off and then finding out I got to do more stuff, and sliced my finger open trying to deal with the cover to this thing, which inevitably led to blood on the record mute button, which I cleaned off with alcohol and found out the hard way that it takes off these button labels too, alcohol does. So yes, be careful with cleaning the display on this thing, or with the buttons on this thing. That's all I can tell you. Anyhow, I'm going to call it a day before I find yet more stuff to do on this thing. I think it's ready. I don't know if it's eating tapes or not, or if it's causing problems with dropouts or not, or whatever. I'm just going to have to record with it a few tapes and see if it eats a brand new tape or damages a brand new tape. And then if there's more problems, we can get back into it another time. I don't think it's the pinch rollers. It could be. But you guys will have to let me know what you think, because I am extremely frazzled. This has been one heck of a day. Shouldn't have been working today. I should have saved it for tomorrow, but there's supposed to be thunderstorms tomorrow, and I want to go out shooting those. Quite frankly, I'm just happy that this thing's got the heads in alignment and everything's working. At least to my knowledge. So I will see you in the next video. Take care.